So today, like I said, we're talking about a particular aspect of driving value within HR, and this session is focused on driving successful HR initiatives, winning strategies that we can all apply in our different domains and functions. We're going to step away from the sort of like fluffy, high-level things and get into real practical insights that you can use literally today, tomorrow, and beyond, right? And that's the goal for today's session. About our guest, which actually, let me go back because, like I said, my team is going to be very upset with me if I don't talk about certain things. So I'm going to go back and talk about really quickly who we are, what we're doing, and then also get a sense for who you guys are. So do me a favor. In the chat, if you will, or if you can, just introduce yourself, your name, your company, your role, location, if that's possible. And we'll just look and see who's here in the comment section. There's a little comments icon. You can click on that. You can type in the responses. The other thing I'll say is if you're able to turn on your camera at any point in time, it's always helpful. Like when I've been on sessions myself as a speaker, it's nice to see some facial expressions here and there. Doesn't mean you have to be on the entire time, but here and there if you can, I think that'll also help. So please feel free to introduce yourself, your name, your company, your role, location. My name is Seni. I'm the CEO at Talstack. I guess that's my company. My role is CEO. My location is I shuttle anywhere between Lagos and Lisbon. So you could find me in either location depending on what day of the month you're looking for me at. So welcome, Victoria from Vascon Solutions. Welcome, Praise. Great to meet you here from Saro Global Defense. Interesting. That's I think the defense industry has become a very hot topic in the last few weeks. So it's great to see that we actually have someone from that sector joining us today. Olama, welcome. I think you're someone that's familiar to us, so it's really great to have you here again. And Yola, hi, good to meet you. Pearl, System Specs. I see a lot of companies here that are very well-established brands in Nigeria and beyond. So it's our privilege to have you join us today. And of course, we hope that this session will be super useful for you as you go along as well. So also look in the comments and see the people that are here. These are people that maybe you should be connecting with as peers on LinkedIn as well. And maybe one of these days we'll find a way to do a virtual hybrid in person. So as some of you might know, we have physical mixers as well, where we actually bring in HR leaders into a room and we have a very curated conversation. Those are super insightful. If you've not been invited to one of those yet, please drop a message to my team. I'm going to put somebody on the spot here and put their email address in the chat. You can email that person and they'll make sure you get an invite. So I'm going to put their email addresses in the chat. Okay, so we're a few minutes in. Let's get moving. Like I said, a few names here. So for those that don't know about Talstack, we are the people management platform for high-performing teams. Talstack enables you to really automate some of the functions you do within the world of HR and also management. And what does that really mean in like actual terms? I'm going to skip this slide because this is just our bragging slide where we say that we're trusted by many leading brands. These are companies that you're probably familiar with, and companies that you've probably even used in some capacity or the other. Talstack works in three really simple ways. First thing we do is let you turn strategy into action. We have a module where companies can set company goals, department goals, individual goals, create transparency, create tracking, allow you to drive execution and track progress and really manage performance. That's one thing we do, and we do it really well. The second thing is we allow you to do amazing reviews. So many of you probably use spreadsheets or use a software that every 6 months, when it comes to review time, you're looking forward to breaking your computer because it just drives you nuts. We've launched one of the simplest platforms on the market for conducting performance appraisals and reviews. You can do 360 reviews. You can do just employee and manager reviews. Allows you to add a lot of context and detail and makes it really easy to get the insights you want from people's performance and be able to then engage around performance management in the company as well. And the last thing we do is employee training. So we've built a platform and we have tons of customers using this today that allows you to deploy employee training in really, really, really record time, as quickly as a day or a week, right? Instead of weeks or months, which it typically takes. You can use our own curated content. We have a catalog of hundreds of courses available for you in different topic areas, mostly focused on the workforce. The second thing is you can use your own content on our platform. So you can upload your own content. You can create structure, add learning paths, assign courses to people, track usage, view insights. And really the goal here is being able to connect learning and performance and driving the impact that way. So that's what Talstack is. We enable you to focus on performance and drive employee performance and productivity. And as an HR leader, you're enabling the team to do this much more effectively using Talstack. If you haven't used Talstack yet, please reach out to us. We'll help you set up a demo. And we have a little offer at the end of the session today as well. So that's enough marketing for today. Let's go into the reason why we're here and focus on the content. We're talking about driving successful HR initiatives. And our guest today is Miss Chidi. Ms. Chidi is an experienced HR leader with over 20 years experience managing HR, but also being very involved in business operations more broadly. She's been involved in different sectors: oil and gas, the auto industry, technology and media. And the companies she's worked at include Falcon Petroleum, Larry Motors, a few others. And right now she's currently at MegaLectrics Limited, which owns Classic FM, Beat FM, Niger FM. You guys are probably more familiar with some of these radio stations. I'm guessing some of your commutes, you listen to them. So I think in my chat with Ms. Chidi, I just got to realize that she's involved in so many different things and her bio is extremely long. So we're going to cut it down. I don't think we're doing enough justice to it, but we'll try our best, right? I'm going to let you read some of the stuff on the slide, but I'll speak about two big things. One is Ms. Chidi is really, really involved in the CIPM, which most of you here probably know of. And she's been a pivotal individual in helping them to drive some major initiatives. For example, in the CIPM cooperative, which was created while she was, sort of involved in making that happen, they were able to grow the cooperative's assets to 200 million naira in just under 2 years, which is, as you probably can imagine, monumental growth. Second thing is she was part of the leadership team that helped to build a balance sheet of over 2 billion naira at CIPM, which again is a very huge feat. And there are many other things that she's done that we're not sharing today. Maybe she'll share them when she's talking. But her role really has involved, within the corporate space, driving different kinds of transformation, and she's currently undergoing, sort of one that's already proving very valuable for the business. There's so much to say. So let me pause there and just say she's overall a seasoned HR strategist, not just with the academic side of things, but with real institutional influence, an actual track record of building systems that outlast her roles, and execution credibility to back each theory she teaches with real world examples. I'm very, very privileged to invite you to join us, Ms. Chidi. If you're on, please, you can now show your face so we can see who you are. We can get this going. And you're muted, by the way, so we will...
Okay, all right. Can you see me?
Absolutely, we can see you. So when she's done presenting, we're going to actually take a Q&A. The goal of this is to give people a chance to also ask questions. The idea of the presentation is that she shares with you real things, and some of those real things will then sort of spur questions. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We'll also have an opportunity to ask them live at the end of the session. With that said, I will stop sharing my screen, and Ms. Chidi, please, I'm going to hand over to you. Welcome. Please help me give her a welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just trying to see if I can find my slide. Yes.
Not a problem. And if you do need help with your slide sharing, we can also help you with that.
Okay. Can you confirm that you can see my slides?
We can, yes.
All right. Let me put.
And I got a chance to look through your slides earlier, and honestly, I was very excited. It's short and to the point, and it's full of what I think will drive a lot of insight today.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Confirm that you can still. I'm trying to get it to
the slide. Full screen. You can probably, let's see. I think there's a shortcut button you can use to go into full screen mode. But I think your screen has stopped sharing now.
Yes, I did stop sharing. Yeah. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, colleagues. While we're at it, share. Okay. Okay. Confirm that you can see my slide and it's okay.
We can see it very clear.
Since you have seen my face, maybe I could also, I wanted to stop. Okay, let's see. All right, good. So good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon. Thank you, Seni, for that long introduction. I really do not intend for it to be that long. And for point of notes, I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, not full member. Maybe you got that and I had not updated. Thank you. And thank you everyone that's here. I really wish I can see the other side of it. All right, but let's go straight to this. And please, Shane, do let me know if there are questions. Okay. How would we do this? The topic today, like Shani said, is driving successful HR initiatives, the winning strategies, securing buy-in and budget for your HR initiatives. And then we are going to look at that. You've already met the speaker. The only thing I will add to what Shani has said is that I also work for an organization, MegaLectrics, he mentioned it. And we have radios, we operate radio station. We are a holding company for 4 brands of radio stations: Beat FM, Niger FM, Classic, Lagos Talks. You wonder why 4? They all cater for different demography of listeners. So if you want to sell, don't worry. We have the right demography for you, so you can just reach out to us. And then I sit on the board of CIPM. That's very true. I'm a wife and a mother. That's my permanent vocation. Thank you very much. Now, here to the crux of the matter, HR initiatives. Why exactly is HR initiative matter? Why is it that initiatives at all, how are they important? And for HR, you know, someone said that the business of the business is the people. So if we sit, where's that noise coming from? Shani, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. We're going to try and figure out if that's coming from one of the attendees and mute.
So if you sit on top of a HR role, if you are in any HR role, you are managing the most important asset of any organization. That is people. You see, before now, when they talk about business, incidentally, the business environment, the business world didn't realize that on time, or the business scholars didn't realize that the most important part is the people. We took it for granted. Oh, when you want to start business, you need money, you need land, you need this. However, the one man who is starting business did not realize that he is the human resource. And without him, the ideation, the content, the execution is nowhere. So they missed it for a long time until we got here. So what exactly does HR do? HR shapes productivity, culture, and competitive advantage. And it's not just about admin stats, not just about carrying file, right name, bio data, no. A proper HR is supposed to determine how the productivity of any organization fares, how the culture is like, although culture is not owned by HR alone, but HR drives. And then the competitive advantage, which is also the people. Everybody will buy machine, everybody will automate, everybody would target the same customers, will do the same campaign. But the differentiating factor is the people, and that is what we do. Now, studies have shown that only 32% of HR leaders fully integrate HR initiatives with business planning. And that is very, very poor. The focus then should be that great initiative must, and I say must, translate people's program into measurable business. Now, let me say something. Please, I know that I have a lot of HR leaders here. I was fortunate to look at the participant list, and we are sharing knowledge. I don't know it all. Today, I'm also learning as I lead this. I'm only leading a conversation. So I hope that you will bring your idea to bear, just like I bring mine. So great initiatives translate people program into measurable business results. If it's about people, we as HR should be able to translate that into measurable business results. Whether it is employee engagement, whether it is training, whether it is just employee motivation, it must show, reflect in the bottom line. If not, then there is no need to run that. Aligning HR with organizational goal. We need to start every initiative with the business context. Understand the business of the business. Understand what your business does. In mind, how do we make money? I'm in the media industry. What do we sell? We sell airtime. We sell listeners. You, what do you sell? How do the company convert that into money? It's something you need to understand. What is the growth target? What is the transformation objective? What is the product innovation priorities? That helps you to align and secure leadership buy-in and ensure that HR works directly to support strategic outcomes. Now, the truth is this: if you do not understand it, you will not speak the language of the business. And it's important that you do that. It's important that when you're talking to the CEO, the CFO, you are discussing how it impacts on the bottom line. And if you don't understand it, there's nothing you can do. For instance, I have an example there. If we are trying to deploy the Microsoft People Vision, how would it help? You need to map each HR program into 1 or 2 business KPI before you can invest. Although we are seen as cost center, we are not cost center. We are actually productivity protectors. We are actually revenue protectors, not cost center. And we need to project our initiative in that manner.
Can I ask a quick question there? And
please go ahead.
Once in a while. So I've spoken to a number of HR, managers in companies, and something I've heard a few times is they'll say, I feel like I don't have clarity about what the strategic objectives are for the company, right? Maybe I've asked my CEO before, and it's just not clear to me. So in that situation, how does that person connect their initiatives to the company's strategy?
Okay. Well, it depends. If the person is new, I would understand that. But if not, I believe that for most organizations, every year, annually, the year just started, you find out that a strategic session is held. And usually, what happens then is that the strategic priorities for the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years is then crafted at that session. HR drives this oftentimes. If HR is not driving that, I will be surprised. But beyond that as well, if the person is new in the organization, if the MD doesn't know, sometimes maybe the MD is not even clear on what his strategic objective is. There are different kinds of MDs. Some are actually exposed. Some business-wise, they're educated, they understand, they have clarity. Some don't. They know what they want, but they do not know how to communicate that. It's then about time that the HR will talk to other people, the CFO, the head of marketing, if they've been there before the HR, to understand what it is. And if not, the HR can also then organize a session whereby clarity can be put to this. Maybe the MD too is confused. It happens.
Yes.
Exactly.
I think what I'm hearing from you then is more like HR actually, if you don't know, your job is to go and seek. And if you can't find it after you seek, then your job is to support the team in creating that clarity.
Exactly. That's it. Exactly.
Not waiting, always waiting to be told. Okay. I think that's very clear. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you for that question. So here we are now the cocoa of the matter, the main cross of why we are here today. A lot of time, can you hear me?
Absolutely clear.
Okay. Oftentimes what we find out is that HR initiatives are turned down. We do not get buy-in. Leadership is not willing to invest in our initiatives. Maybe it is not the initiative that is the problem. Maybe it is the presentation. Maybe it's how it's crafted. Maybe it's because they are not seeing value. Let's check and see how that works. So here, the hard truth. The truth is that most HR ideas die because they are framed as employee specs. Our employees need to be happy. Let us make them happy. Oh, you see, we need to make our employees comfortable. Oh, you see, this is what is happening. And I know as I speak, I could hear most MDs just say, am I here to make people happy? Why don't you make me happy first by improving the bottom line? Yes. And very, very tenable. Why don't you I started a business to generate money to make profits. You are not making the profits and you're telling me to make people happy. So why should I make people happy when I'm not happy? So
right.
eventually, if we look at it, that is the way we craft HR initiatives. We need to move from soft metrics, employee engagement scores, oh, it has increased, to very hard ones, revenue per full-time employee, the turnover cost, the ROI on training. Because yes, if the engagement rate is high, if the engagement scores for employees is high, so what? I pay them salary, so ordinarily they should be engaged. If I'm doing more than that, so what? Why should I? What is the impact on the revenue per employee? We need to calculate and show that. That would help with how we present. Key insight: finance don't fund happiness. They rather fund reduced risk and increased productivity. And to do that, we need to consider stakeholders mapping. We need to identify the various stakeholders in the organization before we even go about presenting whatever initiative we have. One, I've talked about aligning the initiative with the company's strategic objective. Identify where the company wants to go and craft your initiative in such a manner that it would add value to that, it would drive that. So we have also spoken about the hard metrics. That's what the CE wants to see. I'm not investing money so that people can be dancing kokoma. If they are happy, I need to be happy. My shareholders need to be happy. So now, how do we identify these stakeholders? We can look at some of them. The CEO, who is thinking of his vision, who is thinking of competitive advantage, how he will have an edge over competition, and who is thinking of speed. We also need to think of the CFO, the finance people. They're always thinking of, they see everything as investment. And the truth is that everything is investment. So if I give you this money, how much am I going to get in return? What will you do with the cash flow? Is it mitigating any risk? Then the departmental heads, HR is saying this and saying that. Is it making our work more difficult or making our work easier? So if we identify these stakeholders, we will be able to know how to manage them. The ones that we are meeting their needs, who will this initiative meet their needs? Who do we need to take into account when we are driving this, when we are discussing this? Who would we need to manage and who would we need to keep informed? Let me share a story. I joined an organization a couple of years ago. Incidentally for me in this organization, as they were growing, the head of marketing was also managing HR. The company got to a point where they felt that they needed a dedicated HR, and I was recruited to head that department, separate from the marketing now. But here, the head of marketing felt that her job was taken away from her, her scope was reduced, her influence was reduced. So there was nothing HR did that would be okay. Any initiative, in fact, the letter HR will write is an issue. There will be corrections whether they are real or not. That went on for years. So HR and marketing were always fighting, always at each other's neck. Then something happened. As head of HR, I just asked myself, what really are you fighting? Are you crying more than the bereaved? I took a step back. But you know, some people, it's in the blood. You feel accountable, you want to see things go right. So we're at it again. And then, but this time, not fighting. So what happens is that any initiative, the head of HR may not come to my office, but I go there and I sit down and I say, oh, madam, you know, I'm thinking of something like this. What do you think? I go to the GM and say, you see, this is what I'm thinking of. We can do it like this. What do you think? And the CFO, what do you think? Now we get into the management meeting and I'm presenting that idea. And by the time the MD is pushing back and say, oh, Madam HR, I don't know, what did you just hear voices from any corner? No, but MD, I think we should look at this again. In fact, sometimes they take the vision from me and then what you hear is, I think what HR is trying to explain is X, Y, Z.
Right.
So you see,
you have champions.
Exactly. They are now selling the idea because I've gotten their buy-in. And a mentor told me that you can imagine what you can achieve if you do not care who takes the glory. So it doesn't have to be, oh, it's HR initiative, let's clap for HR. No, the motivation is that has been achieved, it's been executed. You have gotten your buy-in, you are seeing it work. And it has worked for me because recently I got a mail from the MD to say, Madam, everything you do, we see and is well appreciated. Without talking, without saying anything, without even owning it at all. So then we move. That is your stakeholder. They must be well managed and you must identify their needs and key into it. Speak the CFO language, the language of numbers. Like I said, HR is not a cost center. It's just a revenue protector. It's a profit protector. That's what HR is. You must quantify the cost of inaction. If we don't do this, what will happen? If we do not do that, what will happen? If we do this, then what will happen? For instance, if we are talking of training, if we're talking of an initiative, are we able to calculate the ROI of training? Maybe we should look at it even. How do we calculate ROI of training? ROI definitely is usually the benefit minus the cost of investment divided by the investment itself, the cost of that investment. So for instance, if we are introducing a training program, of course, you would know what the complete cost of training program will be. A training initiative, you would have to add the cost of travels, logistics, accommodation, the consultant cost, even the cost of the employee being away. That is the cost of the training. If we put that together, and then we measure the benefits. Take, for instance, a sales employee, and we can calculate, say, a sales staff who before training was probably bringing in revenue of, say, 10 million naira a month for the benefit of this conversation. And then went for a training, 3 days training, sales training, returned. And in measuring that staff performance, which you should measure, the gap should be identified before the training so that the training is tailored to address that need. If the staff then start bringing in 20,000 or 20 million every month or 30 million every month, for the next 1 year, that is how much? 360 million. Subtract the cost of the training. That is the benefit.
Right.
So if the training costs, say, 10 million, and this staff is now bringing in 30 million, that's additional 20 million every month, 240. If you subtract 10 million naira, which was the investment in the first place, this gives you 230. Then divide that by the 10 million. How much do you get? Someone can unmute and tell us. I think we should do this brief mathematics to help us.
Let's see who was paying attention.
So
2.4.
2.4. So you see, that shows that what the company's benefit for every 1 naira the company spent, they got over 240% benefit for it. Which MD will see that and not approve? And which CFO will see that and not bring out the budget for it? So we can go on and on. The deployment of a HR information system, an initiative that will reduce turnover, we can quantify the cost of the turnover and then show the benefits. If we don't do this, what are we losing? Are we losing out our targets, our talent to competition? We must speak that language. That is the language they will understand. Please, if you have questions, do not hesitate to ask. Problem alignment. And I said here, never lead with the solution. Lead with the bleeding wound. What that means is that you must always let them see the cost of inaction, cost of not doing this. It helps create urgency. If you go there and say, oh, this is what HR wants to do. Normally, HR have started again. At one time, my MD was calling me Mother Charity. She likes to give out specs, charity, everybody must be happy. Yes. But then if you start with the wound, this turnover, our sales staff, the attrition rate in the sales department is about 30%. This is costing us 20 million in lost revenue and recruitment fees, because when an employee leaves, we have to recruit, we have to get consultant, we need to do advertisement, all those have become onboarding costs, the time of interview, time to recruit, getting a temporary hire to fill up. Even if you ask an in-house staff, that's a divided attention and reduces the staff productivity. So having done that, now the company that the MD is sitting up or the CFO is sitting up, you mean, are you serious? We are losing 20 million just because of this. We must deal with this issue. And then what solution would your initiative bring? Oh, it's going to reduce this attrition rate by 15%, 50% off. That's a lot. So you capture the attention. We are able to capture the attention for everybody to just say, no, we need to look at this critical.
There's a question that came in the comments. I think, in fact, two of them that are pretty related. I think now is probably a good time to even get them. One of them is from Misan, and it says, how do we calculate the ROI given a revenue driving role? And then the second question, I think, is very much connected from Maiwa, which says, what about for roles that are a bit dicey to put numbers, for example, audits or even HR? So if you're having to maybe do a training program for these types of roles, how do you then communicate the ROI given the framework you're using?
Yes, for such roles, audits, we know what audit does. Audit ensures that the process is followed. Audit mitigates cost. In most companies, audit is also a risk department, a department that mitigates risk. They try to ensure that we prevent losses, we prevent non-compliance, we prevent a situation where people cut corners and something is leaking. The company is draining without knowing it. That's what audit does. So in sending them for that training, it's going to have to show, for instance, in my own industry, we have what we call compliance. Now, people may not steal money, but you may have a situation where a media campaign needs to be executed, and for one reason or the other, not fully executed. So we have a media order where people need to people need to play a campaign 10 times in a day or for 10 days. The on-air personalities may miss one or two and nobody would know. But money did not go away. But what happens is that probably at the end of the month, the company, our customer, is doing a reconciliation and they are coming back to say, oh no, you didn't play my complete campaign. So you need to plow back. We call it plowing back. Plowing back then means that you then give them another airtime. Now it looks like money didn't miss. But the truth is that we are using double airtime for one payment. That's an audit issue. So it is easy to calculate that with the audit on ground and well-trained and knowing how to capture this, the audit will be able to save us on time. Because when you begin to bring up this, call out such misses, you find out that even the OAPs will sit up. They will monitor to ensure that that doesn't happen. So it's then easy to say, oh, in this week, for this week alone, we have 2 misses. In terms of money, in monetary value, this is costing us maybe 500,000. And if this happens every week in the month, we are losing 2 million naira. If that happens, and that's from one customer, if that happens for 12 months, that is 24 million. Now, this training may not cost more than 5 million or 1 million. If you put that together, at the end of the day, you then also have to, that's why I mentioned identifying the needs so that the training is tailored. You just don't send people on training, oh, there's audit training, oh, yeah, come and go. No. The appraisal system or issues that come up would have shown that there is a gap somewhere. Something is missing. Maybe the auditor is not identifying it. So now, after the training, we also measure the impact of the training. Is the auditor, has the rate of compliance misses reduced? And I just use my industry. It could be in the manufacturing industry. where you find out that there are wastages. So money may not be going away, but there are wastages where you have more damaged products than necessary.
Actually, money going away, really, if you think about it.
Exactly. When I say money may not be going away, that could be that nobody is stealing. Account is not changing figures, but the truth is that you are losing resources,
yes,
and then you are having more wastages. Sometimes, even I have a friend who has a farm, and you just find out that sometimes it's either the eggs are cracked, and you can't sell cracked eggs. So if the eggs are cracked, you dash it out to the workers, the chicks are ill, you give them out to the workers. But in this case, you could identify and know why this is happening. And once that is identified, you can quantify how many eggs you lose that would have been sold. Sometimes you can have cracked egg up to 2 crates. That is a lot of money in a day. How many will the chicks lay anyway?
Mm-hmm.
So that is one way. So it depends on your industry. There is no job that cannot be quantified. No job. We just have to identify, one, there should be a need. 2 is that what would that training address? And then we monitor after that to also show at the end of the year that, okay, we'll ask for money for training. The training has been attended. This is the result. This is the improvement that has been observed after the training. I hope I answered your question.
I've also asked them in the chat to confirm that it is, but I think the answer was pretty clear. And I guess one element of that is also maybe preventive. I think embedded in what you're saying, because at times it might not have happened to you already, but if you look at maybe a news article from another company that has been fined for doing something like that, and you say internally we have this exact same risk and we have the same potential issues, and so it's a matter of us getting caught. So let's go and actually address that and how to address it, training, and then I guess that's another potential angle there.
That is it. Especially, and HR doesn't have to be reactive. We are told to be proactive. So we need to look ahead. We don't have to wait until it begins to happen. If we estimate that this could happen, we could also build a business case around that. So here I said, this slide speaks to effective delivery techniques. For every initiative, we need to de-risk the investment, show how this investment, there are potential risks in every investment. So what is our plan? What is our idea on how to mitigate those risks? And what I would propose is a pilot approach for every program. Then I will tell you one. For several years, we have battled with how to break up our organization into business units in terms of operation. Because this way, when you start a business, the other branches out of station were just started because the customer, we want our campaigns to be held outside Lagos. Do you have branches here? Do you have branches there? And then it was open. But with time, we just found out that all those locations, they were like operational locations. They are being funded from the head office, the main branch, which is Lagos. That was having an impact on the bottom line. So it's almost like the expenses is growing, staff costs, business costs, operational costs growing, overhead growing, but the revenue generation isn't growing. The pipeline isn't growing because it's still coming from one source. And for years, even from the HR side, we have proposed that, we can't run this business like this, we can't run this business like this. Consultants will come, consultants will go. And you know the way it is. Anytime you set up a strategic session, everybody knows someone. This will do it. I know I have a friend who can do it. The MD has a friend. And for me, it's always like, okay. And this had gone on until about 2 years ago. This time happened to be someone very experienced in the industry who had been MD in one of the media agencies. And then when I once again came up with my annual strategic retreat, so person will do it, no problem. We brought the guy, great guy, with his support team. We had this session, everything was discussed. We came back. 6 months down the line, nothing was happening. They were going in and out. 1 year down the line, nothing was happening. And then I called the consultant into my office and said, hey, part of your scope of contract is also culture and reorientation. Was like, yes, yes, yes. So how are you doing with that? And you see, we are trying to do the content, but it's very difficult. The management and they will not allow us. You propose this, they are pushing back, you propose this. I just smiled and said, you will be here the next 3 years and you will go without achieving anything. You know what's going to happen? He said, what? I said, calm down. We're going to start from the smaller locations. Start from Abuja has maybe about 50 employees, start from there. Port Harcourt is also a small location. Nobody would bother, start from there. If you begin to generate results, if they begin to see the result of the initiative, we can move forward. We worked it out together and we started. We started with Port Harcourt, flew to Port Harcourt, from Port Harcourt to Abuja, and this whole company-wide transformation started. Nobody discussed Lagos, nobody talked about Lagos, because of course you're going to get a lot of pushback. And after 3 months, 6 months, the impact began to show. Port Harcourt was already running their monthly performance reviews. Abuja was running their monthly performance reviews, and the employees in Port Harcourt now saw a reason to go out and work rather than stay in and be fighting who owns this, who doesn't own that. The bottom line, the reports begin to move from red to green. For Abuja, it was clear we had to fire a business manager, at least demote the business manager and replace her with another person. So it was quite clear that these people meant business. And every month, we bring them up to do performance review. And within 6 months, it was now time for Lagos. Of course, we got the same pushback. Oh, no, Lagos, there must be, if there is no salary increase, nobody's going to do it. We went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then it came to a time where sometimes also you need to be creative. So it got, and I would also say you need to be creative and you need to be prayerful. So it came to a point, and the people that were pushing back were actually senior managers, not even the line managers. The top executive were actually pushing back. One day, I just got an idea. I said, why don't you propose something? So I went to them individually and said, we will do the salary increase, because the MD said I should do the salary increase as long as I can show him how the money will come in. I said, no problem. We'll do the salary increase. I showed them, I said the money will come in. And then I went to the sales, I went to finance. And remember, as I'm talking to you, it's already 1 year gone. And I said, can we do the salary increase? And can we then implement this transformation project for Lagos? Somehow everybody agreed. And that is how it kicked off. So you see, we didn't start big. We started from the small location. And today is company-wide. Imagine if I had said fund the whole company, we will still be where we are. So what do I say? Look for low-hanging fruit. Start small. Set milestones. If we get this, we'll move to this. If we don't get this, we won't go. Set milestones. Start small. And I would also add here, look for low-costing initiatives to start with. There are so many initiatives we come up with. We probably don't need to spend so much money. In my organization, for instance, I've done serious company, leadership training for all members of my line heads without spending a dime. How? But so we look for those who can give the services. We then look for which of our service do they need. Unfortunately, we are in an industry where everybody needs to advertise. Exactly. So who wouldn't approve that? Who wouldn't approve that? I'm not asking you to give me money. So, and that is what we look for first. But where there needs to be money, we put ROI to it. So they are beginning to see the bottom line change to green, and that is happening. I would also say something, looking at that actually, 11 years ago, I actually joined an organization where the top management belonged to a denomination that don't believe in Christmas. So no end of the year party. No, break. You work from January to 31st December, aside from your leave. That's fine. But I found out that within this period, the staff don't do anything. They just come into the office every day, aside from public holidays, till closing time and go back home. Don't mind me, I like my Christmas break. And then I drew up a proposal. I looked at how much we spend on diesel every day for 1 week. And I also considered the fact that, the employees, if they spend this 1 week at home, they would come back rejuvenated to start work freshly in the new year. And then the fact that most organizations we sell to, because that company sell IT products, huge, big photocopying machines and all that, note counting machines, office equipment and all that. So most of the companies we sell to also shut down for the year. So basically there's little or no business. So why spend so much money burning your diesel, draining your employees when there is no business? They don't go out. The engineers don't service anything. By the time I presented that, I didn't need to go back to present. The MD, who ordinarily don't even believe there should be anything break during Christmas, approves. And until I left that organization, the company kept going on end of the year break. So it is because I've shown them where they are losing money. And I think that it is better return on investment, allowing the employees to stay home for that 1 week. Thank you. So we go on, competitive benchmarking. Fear of missing out. That is a strategy. We probably need to find out what is competition doing around that initiative. And if we are not doing it, are we not losing out? If the industry standard is moving towards AI recruitment and we are still doing manual, what are we losing? Are we losing the war for talent? The person who recruits faster, there have been times where you would, by the time you conclude your recruitment process, the candidate is saying, I got a job elsewhere. And that is a very key candidate. So would the company be better off keyed into that initiative, AI-driven recruitment? And what are other people in this industry doing that is giving them an edge over the company? You know, nobody wants to lose out. The MD will probably be thinking, oh, I better hurry up so that I do not miss out on what competition is doing. So I do not miss out on getting the right talent, because it's about people issue. We'll go faster. Our time fast spent. Be transparent about the resources you need in terms of budget, consultants, materials, how many hours. Let's be transparent about it. Mitigate the risk and comply. What happens if we do not? It's better to look at it. Legal risk. Are there market risk? Are we losing out to competition? Brand risk. Does it have an impact on our brand reputation? We need to also state that, quantify that so that it's clear to everyone. And if we're making this presentation, on our closing page, recap the value we are bringing. What are we asking for? We are not asking for 10 million naira for a party. We are asking to invest to save 50 million in attrition costs. So if my initiative looks expensive, what will be the cost of inaction? And then ask for approval. In closing, I will just give us a few tips, which is pre-wire every individual. Nobody should come into your presentation and is surprised, especially for the stakeholders. Like you heard me mention severally, I go to this person and I talk, even at the CIPM. At CIPM, if I'm bringing any initiative to the board, most of the time, for those who know, I would have called the president and gotten his buy-in. So when it's coming in, what happens? A few members of leadership and council already know about this proposal. One is that they are actually checking, is it of value to us? Two is that, how would it benefit the institute? The same thing with my organization. I pre-wire, go to the individuals that will be in that meeting, at least the key ones, and get their buy-in. So if they have concerns, they will let you know, and you can address those concerns, at least tweak your initiative to accommodate that. Once people know that you want to know about their concerns, you are willing to address it, not just put it aside. They are willing to support you. At least you have been able to move a bit. Handle objection. You can even go to the meeting with possibly frequently asked question. Call your team together. Imagine what it will look like, what kind of questions can come up, what kind of pushback, and then prepare yourself to answer that. You know, we HR people, we like stories, and stories is very good. Storytelling is very good, but we should come with two. come with the data and come with the story. So when we tell this, we show the data, we tell the stories as well. That helps. I would also say something. I said, I think we should be patient and resilient. Patience and timing matters. Sometimes some initiative we bring on board, the timing may be right, but the resources not available. And the resources may be there. Maybe the reason we are getting rejected is just that the timing is wrong. I'll give you a story. Before COVID, I've been trying to set up a broadcast academy for our organization. The first time it came up, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, madam. Do you know what it is to set up an academy? You want to bring people here to sit down. Blah, blah, blah. And what informed that? What informed that really is because we have the facility, we have the structure, we have equipment here. We're taking a lot of interns and they come learn. People even approach us and just learn. So why don't we do a proper academy? And I felt that would be an initiative that would add to the company's bottom line as well as put HR in a good light. Also help with our talents, our talent pipeline. So we said all that. And then the MDC said no. After the COVID in 2021, we came back with the same initiative. Okay, no problem, you will do that, but we need to build a complete structure. We need to get it right. We need to do this. We need to do that. That stalled. Then recently, at the strategy session, it came up again. And you know what I heard? What is that in HR said they will do? Please, can you put it down and let them have the budget to do that? Now we have support, we have buy-in. That took how many years? And that is not the first time. If you calculate, almost 6-7 years, but we're here. We didn't give up. But maybe this is the right time. Maybe now more people have seen the need for that than they used to. So sometimes it takes a little, maybe it's also its presentation and the way it's being presented and the need for it at that time. So, dear colleagues, I just hope that we've been able to share some knowledge that we can use as we go back. Then finally, I'll leave you with this. Let the possibilities inspire you more than the obstacles will discourage you. Now, there will definitely be obstacles and there will be pushback even when there is no need to. But if you let the pushback discourage you, then you will never be able to execute. You'll probably stay in that organization and leave looking back without being able to achieve anything or frustrated. But maybe if you let the possibilities inspire you, knowing fully well that if you are able to achieve that, it's going to add value, not just to a lot of people, to yourself, to the organization, to the people out there. And I think oftentimes that is what really drives me as a person, even at the CIPM level that is just volunteer. People wonder, why do you bother at all? The bother at all there is that you are adding value. It's that initiative is adding value to someone, to the institute, to people out there, and it's for common good. Having said that, I want to say thank you very much, everyone, for listening. I'm open to hear your comments and also have you share your idea and experiences so that we can all learn together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chidi. So for everyone on the call, we'll stick around for another 20 or so minutes. That way we can take some questions. I'll give one or two remarks or maybe comments before we open up for questions. The first is I love the presentation and the length. I think it's the right time, and you packed a level of wisdom in a short time that I didn't actually think was possible. So when I saw the slides, I was like, this is gonna run for an hour and a half, and it's fine because it's a lot of wisdom. But you managed to keep it in an hour, which I think is fantastic. Two is I think that what you landed on, the very last point you made, is such a critical point, which is it's really about leadership. You talked about adding value. If all of us wake up every day, every week, every month, and we ask ourselves, how can we add value? I think as a society, as a community, the amount of good that can be done is just tremendous. So to me, it's actually befitting that you ended on that slide. And maybe the third thing I would say is my own takeaways from the conversation, right? As somebody who both has been, a leader who manages HR teams and on the operational side where HR teams are trying to get me to approve things and I'm either fighting with them or saying yes. Number one, I think you said is be very commercial. HR people should not just think of as themselves as HR people. They should be thinking of themselves as commercial leaders. So come with the ROI, come with the numbers, come with the metrics, look at the data. That's number one. Number two is a little bit of project management as well, because like you said, starting with small pilots, understanding where you can get your high leverage, stakeholder management. Those are elements that really drive that value. Being able to speak the right language, turning things into, what's the cost of not doing it? What's the benefit of doing it? What's the value? Having that kind of language that resonates with the leadership teams, and then of course be patient, because you can't always have your way. At the end of the day, no matter how much excitement we have to go and get things done, even the CEO of the company doesn't have their way all the time. Right? The market also has times when the market says no. So I think those are really, really useful insights. Thank you so much. I mean, I think the comments are all letting you know how people feel about it. Would love to take some questions. The one question I'll ask you, and then we'll go to the audience question, is people wanted to know whether the slides would be shared afterwards. And I wanted to get you can choose not to answer yet if you want to answer privately later. But somebody asked that question earlier. So if you want to answer the question, you can. If not, we can take it offline. And
you have the slide. Nothing is hidden in this world. I'm sure all the ideas captured there. I can't claim, apart from the stories, I can't claim that they are especially mine. So please, even the quotes isn't mine. So what are you hiding? You have the slide.
So for everyone, we'll send the slides later. We usually also have the webinar available with the private link on YouTube. So we'll also get that to you. So look out over the next couple of days for an email from us. There was a question that was asked by, I think, Joseph earlier, and he said the initiative is easy to push if the person is in management or the management level. That some of us are functioning maybe as HR managers, so we're probably not as C-level executives. And so how do you get to a point where you can, scale up to be able to influence at that level? And of course, I know that, Ms. Chidi, you were not always a senior leader. At some point, you were an earlier career person. So what would you say are some of the either tactics, techniques, or ways in which someone can sort of get to that ability to influence without having the title?
I made a comment. I said, you can't imagine what you can achieve if you don't bother who takes the glory. That's the truth. Sell that idea to your boss. Sell it to whoever you report to. It doesn't matter. The boss may go there, not even call. Some boss are good. They will call you. They will say, oh, this is from so person. I don't own this. And they'll bring you into the room to speak so that you can shine. Some don't want to do that. Some have insecurity issues and they don't want you to come and steal their shine. It's not a problem. But your boss will be grateful to you for helping him or her shine. So you sell that idea to your boss. One, there is value to that. One is that you will see your idea coming to life, coming to reality. For me, that's a great motivating factor. Okay, I will say something. I won't expose names here. There are several ideas, even at CIPM. Something happened recently. I gave that idea out and nobody knew. And when it happened, immediately after that, I called and said, how much will you pay me? And the person repeated to me, you can imagine what you can achieve. But my joy is that, wow, this is coming from me and it's a reality and people are really commending that idea. You don't need to own it. One day your time will come to shine. And don't forget, when that person have an opportunity to have you shine, that they don't need to shine as well there, they will bring you up. So assuming someone is saying, oh, I need someone to, this same person will recommend you for several positions and opportunities because they know what you are capable of. People will be wondering, why this particular person? Why are you always giving this person? How is it that this person is the person you always want? They won't know that the person has benefited from you. They may not say it that day. They may not say it then because they are your boss. But let somebody need a recommendation. Let them leave that place and somebody is asking, who do you think can replace you? You will see that the first person they will call is called so person, called Chidi, because they know that whatever they glory in, whatever they've been commended for, you are actually behind it silently. So it depends on one more. But I think the challenge most of us have is that we want to come out so that everybody will give us a award. Oh, I own that idea. It's not my. Some of us even go around to say, my boss don't know anything. I'm the one that is giving them all the idea. And once you begin to do that, your boss will begin to shut you up.
Right. Yes.
Do you get it? We begin to, even the ideas, the great ideas you bring up, they will shun it. Take this in away, Joe. What do you want? It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. Not because the idea is not useful, but because they know that you are going to take the shine. You are going to tell everybody. You are going to go about telling everyone they know nothing. So they kill that idea. At the end of the day, nobody knows what you are worth. So that would be my response. But like you said, any other person can answer.
I think we're getting a partial masterclass in politics as well. It's politics 101 as well, because this applies both in your particular team, applies within the company broadly, and probably applies in society as a as well. Are there any other questions from anyone? We'll leave it a few seconds. I know many of you might be looking for Miss Chidi after this now. You might not find her because she's a very busy person.
I have a question.
Okay, please go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. I want to say thank you for Mrs. Chidi for her session. My question is straightforward. I joined my present company about 6-7 months ago. And before then, I've had stories about marketing department having challenges on sales, majorly with management. So, and I witnessed it firsthand myself. It's about pricing, and it has led to a series of different things, losing good hands in marketing. We lose business to our competitors just because MD and the board is a family-owned business. So they decide this is what we want to do, and once they decide, you can't change it. We've been losing businesses. Even this month, we lost businesses that I always tell them at the meeting. Like an Igbo man will not leave money on the table as long as you are making profit. No matter what, the turnover is what matters, but it's been a challenge. I've tried to push, but I'm still getting a no. So I just want to know what I can still do to make them see reasons why we should not insist on, okay, I want to make 100,000, I want to make this. Once we are making a reasonable profit, I think this should go. That's my question.
What my response to that would be data. Collect the data. You lose business every month. From the past 3 months, 6 months, what businesses did you lose? What is the amount of this business? Add it together. Where are they going to competition? If we didn't have to lose this business, how much would we have made? If because of discounts, even with the discounts they are asking for, how much would we have made? Take for instance, if you lose businesses worth like 10 million naira for the benefit of this discussion, 10 million naira every month times 6, that's 60 million. I probably think that for discounts, the customer probably asks for 10% discount, say total 10% or 20%. So if you take 20% from 60 million, that will give us about 12 million. And we still have like 48 million. So if we give this discount, we will still have 48 million coming to the organization. And with this 48 million, we are still making like 20% profit instead of probably 50% profit. Is this something we can show? And say, you probably sometimes, you also need to, there's this thing I talk about, managing your boss, understanding your boss. You need to understand the nature of the MD. I will give you an instance. My MD does not like you coming to sit down to tell him long stories. If you sit in front of him to propose anything, after 5 minutes, you lost him. You will just lose him after 5 minutes. So his attention span, he doesn't have that patience. So what do? You send mail ahead. And sometimes he doesn't read the mail. I take it and put it on WhatsApp. He's a WhatsApp person. So I'll send the mail, that's official. I wait for a day or two, I copy it, put it on WhatsApp. So you need to understand who your boss is. Some MDs, you can sit, in fact, they want to see you every day. Sit down, let's talk, gist them, it depends. So if your MD is the type like mine, you send the email, you prepare a proper business case for this and send it, let him read it. Then you can then begin to ask for time to meet with him. So already he can read, he has read what you sent and is willing to listen to you. That makes things easier. But I think that if you show the monetary value, and I think that what caused this oftentimes is trust. I can relate with what you are saying. Actually, I've seen that happen, because it's either the MD thinks that the salespeople are trying to make deal. That's why they are asking for that. But look at it's costing him 60 million because he thinks that he will lose 10 million or 12 million to deal. So which would he rather take? You need to show that in numbers and talk to him about it. I don't know if the person have anything to add. But I believe that as a normal, if I were in his shoes, like the Igbo woman that I am, I'll say, please give me my money. Let me tell you, after the 48 million, I am still making profit, isn't it? I'm still covering my costs. I'm making profit. Bring it. I don't care about the 12 million. Let me get my money first. That's what I would say as a normal Igbo that I am. But I can relate with what you are saying. I don't know if any other person have other tips for you, but that's what I would say.
Thank you very much, man.
Okay, thank you.
I think we have another hand raised, so we'll take another hand raised, and then we have a couple of questions in the comments. We'll jump into the comments. So, Chris, you can go ahead.
All right, hi. Good evening, everyone. So mine is just to lay a bit of credence to what I had been said, and that's understanding the business. In fact, why this was going on, maybe like 3 minutes ago, I got a call. And it was one of the subsidiary MDs, executive director, who just called me now. And I had been making a proposal, for a very long while for them to create a role. And, I have been trying to give them reasons why that role should come in. Until now, it didn't work. But just now, I got a call from the executive director and was telling me justification why the role should come. And I sat down and I gave him reasons. As a matter of fact, I gave him an understanding, a clear picture of his business area. By the time I did the analysis, just a few minutes just now, I was able to convince both the executive director and the MD of that subsidiary. And immediately he agreed. This was for the past 1 month, talking about, let us create this role. And I've been trying to convince him on how to do that. But just now, I probably had a rethink and came back. I had to now convince him, let him know what he will gain, from doing. So the point is that it's very important as HR for you to have an understanding of the business. Once you have that understanding, they will listen to you. So no matter what you are saying, but once they know you understand the business, 1, and 2, you give them from your understanding. There are lots of things the company is going to benefit from you. As a matter of fact, they will gladly, agree to your initiative. So knowledge of the business is very, very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chris. That's a good one. Thank you so much. Well done.
So let me jump into the chat, and I'll come back to you right after that. So we have another question from Tuador. It says, I'm new to HR, 2 years new, motivated to add value and do more. Essentially, she feels a bit scarce for ideas. And it's not about doing the job or getting, that recognition. It's really about just adding value and being able to help the organization grow. So I guess maybe the question here is, how does she begin to even get ideas of what to propose or what to work on, how to add value? I think there's probably many different ways to answer that question, but I'll have Ms. Chidi kind of give her a quick one. I think it's been captured a little bit in what you said, but maybe there's a way of just hitting the nail on the head there.
Okay, thank you very much. And I don't mind if you want to answer this question. Sometimes I like to pick the mind of non-HR people when it comes to HR. Well, what I do oftentimes is that I network both externally and internally. You'll be amazed at what you will get from even the normal staff when you sit with them, find out what their challenges are, or even just people who don't know anything about HR. Just ask them, what do you think HR can even do? You'll be shocked at what they will say. They will give you ideas. They may not know how it can be executed, but they will give you. And then networking outside, you also find out what others are doing. But let me say something. There is no one size fits all. Whatever it is that is going on in other organizations, that's why you need to understand your organization, understand where the gaps are, understand where the pain points are. I've given you an example of my organization. It may not be the same with the organization. It may just be similar or in a different way. What works for me may not work for you. If we talk, we can provide guidance, but you need to tailor it to suit your organization. If not, you will just be running initiative that is not adding value. You get what I'm saying? So for me, I will leave it that short. Maybe Seni has something to answer from a CEO point of view.
You've actually said it. And I think, there's a theme that keeps coming round and around, all right? Even when Chris Isaac just spoke now, which is, I think of companies like people in the sense that every person is different. And exactly what Ms. Chidi said, every company is different. It's almost like if you come to me to propose something to me, and it's something generic you just found online and came and said, let me help you with this, I might tell you I'm not interested. But if you come and spend a week, maybe you've been watching me, you've been talking to me a lot, you've been hearing what I'm saying, and then you come and tell me, look, over the last 2 weeks, you've been complaining about this particular problem, and I can help you solve that problem. And the way I solve that problem, either you're saving me money that I'm spending already, so I spend less on you and I save a lot more, or you're helping me make money, or you're helping me like reduce the stress that I have, I'm more likely to listen to you. I think it's the exact same thing with companies. So whether I'm speaking to other colleagues, speaking to other managers in the business, speaking to your own peers, you begin to generate ideas of problems. That's step one. Step two is then being able to sit down and say, based on what the company needs to do to achieve, which of these problems is likely in line with where the leadership team is going in terms of their priorities, right? And so prioritize the problems that align with the company's own priorities. And then in terms of getting ideas of how to then solve those problems, or ideas to bring to the table, you can use network with people, talk to other HR peers, be part of groups, and then at least you'll be able to expand your horizon in terms of getting new ideas to solve those problems. But it has to be tied to what problems you're seeing and how those problems feed into what the company needs to be able to achieve, right? I think you see a lot of success if you focus there. Eniola, you can go ahead. I think you're up.
All right. Thank you so much for this insightful session, Ma. I've really learned a lot. Just like Seni said, it's meant to be paid for, but this is really good. Yes. So I work basically in a remote space, and the morale of the employees is not a little bit, but it's really down. And with this new age that we're in that has AI, there's a lot of AI stuff, Claude and the likes, and trying to create some interesting initiatives for the people part so that it can also reflect in their productivity. One, the partners or the directors may think it's an entitlement mentality that the employees are having, that, oh, we are sad, you need to increase salary, you need to do this, you need to do that for us. So how can I, because I'm the middleman now, I'm for both the employees and also for the company, I can't be one-sided. So how can I pull both parties together to an understanding that, okay, if we create this interesting initiative, aside the learning part, we are human beings. Some people don't want to go on learning. I've thought about that part of creating a pathway with Talstack and learning pathway with Talstack and things like that. But still, they don't want to go into learning. They want something fun, but then the partners are like, you have to work like it's a mechanical system. So where can I find a balance in balancing both work and also, I would not like to use play, but I have no better words to put, but also a little bit of play for a remote setting?
I have some thoughts. I'm sure there are people that have thoughts as well. Ms. Chidi,
Seni, you want to share your thoughts?
Okay. I think remote obviously makes things a bit more difficult, right? And in terms of balancing work and play, I would say over the last 5 years is when, or maybe 5-6 years is when a lot of these ideas of how do you manage remote teams started to explode, right? I mean, there are a lot of people that have been doing remote prior to that, but I think in our markets, remote has really just in the recent 5-6 years become more of a thing, right? And so there are two elements that I would say for me are really important. The first one actually is contrary to remote, which is that it is almost always true that opportunities to meet in person solidify remote work. So in my previous company, one thing we did is we measured, so it was a company that was placing engineers with global organizations. And we did some research. we used to allow some people travel to meet with the clients. So they work with these companies 1 year, 2 years, in some cases, even longer. Some of them, we let them travel maybe in the first month to the client and spend a week or 2 weeks with them. And some of them we didn't. We did some research and found out that those that went to the client sites, even when the person had issues with performance, the clients took a lot longer to complain about it, and they were more willing to work with us on fixing it before they just dropped off. So that in-person interaction actually did make a big difference. So even in remote teams, the ability to meet, whether it's once every 3 months, 6 months, however long it is, and just get a chance to connect as humans makes a big difference. That's one. So, and a lot of that in-person could be just fun, right? You spend some time getting together, doing some sessions and all that. And for what you actually do together, there are lots of different resources online that you can use for that. So I think that's one element of it is that. But the second element is that the problem with remote work at times is that we only get together to work, then you go back and do your thing. So being able to create some deliberate spaces remotely, even at Talstack today, what we do is we have a once a month town hall where we bring everyone on the team onto a call, and we literally say the rules are, we're here just to kind of banter and have a good time and talk, and any question people ask is fine, and we can talk about anything. So it's not that we are pushing the agenda, so we're letting people push their own agenda during those sessions, and it can be about anything. Some of those meetings are more fun, where we talk about things, we laugh, and then 1 hour goes by. Some of them might be more serious. Maybe there's a big topic to discuss and we talk about it. But that's also a moment where you can let people bond a little bit and loosen their guard. And it's not KPI driven. It's not you're not asking them about update on their work, and they can really connect with each other. So I think, for low hanging fruits, again, back to the thing that has zero cost, right? These are things you can do is have something online that, periodically lets people just loosen their guard, drop the bar, and then connect. And then if you're opportuned, you can have a situation where people can come together physically. If you don't have an office, it could be you meet somewhere, and again, it could be very, very low cost or even no cost. Employees are sometimes even willing to fund this themselves, right? They'll take an Uber or public transportation to get there by themselves just to be with their colleagues and hang out. So hopefully those are useful ideas for you to balance things out a bit.
Thank you so much, Seni. And Eniola, thank you for bringing that up. Seni, you've shared so much, I'm sure, from the perspective of an MD. That's very good. Those are great ideas. And like he said, there's a lot you can do. I've heard people talk about virtual hangout, virtual party, virtual disco, even what do they call it again? There's this one they talk about exercise sessions online in the morning. So there is a whole lot you can do. Now, talking about bringing the balance, the management don't want to spend more money. Seni has said, look for very cost-effective initiative or no cost, zero cost initiative. And a lot of that can happen. Just think of it. I do a whole lot without even paying a dime for it. So I just go to my marketing department and say, hey, I want something for the International Women Day. What can we do? And they go get me some customers, get some products, I distribute that. I'm sure my company is not going to listen if I say, give me budget of 5 million so that I can make the staff happy. But I've been able to make the staff happy without spending much money, although it's still money because we give them airtime. So you can think of that in your own space. For the management, maybe if you can show them some data to show that if these people are happier, if they are more comfortable, if they are more engaged, they would even work more. It's possible to deliver more in 2 hours than you deliver the whole day. We call it presenteeism, even those who come in physically to the office. People come in physically to the office and sometimes they are just on their desks, checking Facebook and watching Netflix and things like that. But some people can actually just sit in the office for 3 hours and they have done everything they need to do. So the company should also consider that. And if you can show them data to show that, okay, for a while, if you do this, if you get those those cost-effective initiatives and run it for like 1 month, and you are able to show them that there's actually improvement in terms of employee engagement and productivity, of course, that may help. That may help drive your initiative and help drive your buy-in. Thank you. They will probably even be willing to bring out money for other ones that may require funds.
and I think on that fine point, in our previous company, The company was then willing to spend more money on that travel because they saw the travel drove improved retention, longer term customers, and the money paid back itself multiple times, right? So I think that just brings that point back to a nice fold. Okay, look, I think we'll take only 2 more questions. I know some people, probably have meetings or it's the end of the day, there are other places to be. We can officially say that the call the session itself is over. But Michelle, if you don't mind, we'll stick around. We'll take 2 more questions. Anyone that wants to stay with us and listen to the answers to those questions, please, you're welcome to join us and stay. My team has actually also told me that if I don't mention this upfront, they're going to, after the call ends, I'm going to receive a query, which is that we have an offer for anyone who wants to have their company try out Talstack for 30 days for free. We'll give it to 10 people. I think we already saw a couple of people clicking on the link. So before it goes, and we have a URL right there at the bottom of the screen. You can click on that and you can basically give access to your company. That way, you're also doing a no-cost initiative that you can test out before it costs you money. The 2 questions, the first one was from Izuchukwu, which is basically about how you're able to navigate office politics when some senior management team sees saw your strategy that you're driving, and they begin to blackmail you after a great strategy session. I'm not sure I fully understood the question, but I understood the office politics part. So Izuchukwu, if you're here, you can help us clarify slightly, maybe like a very short version of what you're trying to ask. But if you already understood the question, Ms. Chidi, you can go ahead. I wasn't sure I fully understood it myself.
If he's still around, maybe he can clarify.
Otherwise, we'll move on to Fraser's question.
Okay, I would attempt. He said something. They begin to blackmail you, office politics, blackmail you when they see the initiative you are trying to drive.
Mm-hmm.
That happens often in an office situation, but I mentioned stakeholder mapping and engagement, getting buy-in, right? Especially if you can get buy-in of the MD, and if you can see value. I've had several occasions where it's the MD that actually sells for me or fights my battle, because when those pushback begin to come, MD will just say, I don't see what's the big deal about this. I mean, can't you hear what HR is saying? I think that is what we are going to do. And the chapter closes. Nobody says anything other than that. You get it. So there have been situations. Okay, I will tell you this. There was a time we were going to engage an employee, a sales employee. We had already agreed, and the guy was just to give an offer letter. The guy actually went to the branch to tell them that he was coming in. And then one of the employees who knew him before then just called me to say, this person always have an issue wherever he works, and gave names and instances. What did I do? I went to the MD straight and told him that, see, I would not be able to engage this person. And this is the reason, this is the reason. And I said that then because I knew the sales director I was dealing with, that she doesn't take no for an answer. So because the MD was already in line with me, I then went to her and told her we can't engage this. Well, of course, she pushed back. She fought back. She looked for several means to make sure that she changed my mind. But the MD just gave her one sentence where she was saying, oh, must you punish someone for things that happened years back, that, blah, blah, blah. The MD just said, why go into a contractual marriage when you know it will not work anyway? Must you go in and then get a divorce later? Please, let's look for someone else. And that was the end of the chapter till today. So you must get buy-in. People will blackmail you either out of jealousy or out of the fact that how can he be the one to be selling this initiative? Or maybe they don't even believe in it. They may believe that it's a waste of time and resources. You also need to engage them. Know what their concerns are. Is it just because they don't believe in the project, or because they feel that they see a gap that you are not feeling? Whatever they are telling you may help. I have this personal principle. I tell people, when you are quarreling with, when you're having an issue with someone, an argument, and the person insults you or criticizing you, even if it's out of hatred, take that to heart and check. There must be some iota of truth. Let me say it basically, I apologize. If someone probably says, look at this woman that don't dress well, or look at this woman that don't even know how to talk or how to carry herself. The person may have said that out of envy and just to get back at you. But if I were in your shoes, what I do is I take that, sit down, say, for this person to have said this, maybe let me look very well. They may be using something that is real to insult me. So I then go back and begin to look for how to correct that part. You get it? I take that feedback. So engage them individually. You will know the ones that are just criticizing you out of envy, but you will know some that have points. And even in the midst of that envy and criticism, you will see some points you need to address that will help you further sell your initiative. That would be my recommendation. Thank you.
I think that's a brilliant answer. My only short contribution to that is I had someone that told me to my face that he was hoping that my project would fail. And it wasn't because he didn't like me. He wanted to make a bigger point to the company. A few months later, I'm at a wedding in Ibadan that I had no business attending, just so I can please this person, right? And just to have them, so we ended up driving together with a group of people. And by the end of the trip, the person got to experience engaging with me, talking to me, and we had a really good relationship. And he became one of my biggest supporters and advocates after that, right? So sometimes the effort seems ridiculous. But again, if you remove your ego and say, I'm trying to get this particular thing done, and this person is not a supporter, they're a stakeholder, but not a supporter, what do I need to do to convert them into a supporter? And you remove the ego part of it, you might do things that maybe don't seem natural to you to kind of get them across the line. Everybody has a soft spot somewhere, and everybody is human somewhere. And we can just break through.
I had a prize.
We get them.
Yes.
We get there eventually. So it might involve going to a wedding in Ibadan, or it might be easier like going to eat amala somewhere, or even just asking them about their family or something else that's a bit more serious than that. Okay.
Or ask them about their children.
Or their children, exactly. That's it. Or maybe even giving them a call when they're not feeling well, right? And checking in. So we'll take the very last question now. I hope that one was clear there. Praise, your question is, how can performance evaluations be effectively designed and administered in a way that aligns with the organization's OKRs, ensures accurate and objective assessment of individual contributions, and generates actionable insights for performance management and talent development, keeping in mind that they're not ready to acquire an HRIS that makes it easier. So it has to be done through Google Forms and Sheets. I'm not qualified to answer that question. If I answer it, by the time we finish this call, you guys will hear that my team has exiled me out of the continent. In fact, they'll just send me to so
I'll do two things. I'll say get proper knowledge about performance management. One, understand the business. So you know the gaps, you know their strategic objectives, you know what for the business is priority, because those are the things you take into consideration in designing your performance management form. I've done performance management without softwares. I was talking to someone a few days ago, and I said I remember using Access to create my employee database from scratch. And I didn't just do it. I had to go and learn how to use Access then. I came back to the organization. That was my first job as HR. I needed to build that. I created, your tabs, everything. It had all that you can think of. I can't even remember how I did all that then, but it happened. So I think if you understand the business and understand what the business priority is and know how you can really, how do I put it to you now? How you can design performance management, even on Word document or Excel sheet or something, it will help. It will help. I can't begin to tell you that here right now. You probably first need to go and learn how to design the proper design or how to customize performance management. Okay, someone is talking. This is someone to talk with. I use Google Form for performance management across the group. It was splendid. You see, that is Isaac for you, Isaac Chris. So that's something to learn from. Thank you very much.
Maybe a session on that only.
Exactly. Maybe a workshop.
Engage interest on performance management. And I think, the idea there wouldn't be to sell our products necessarily. I mean, obviously, we think we offer a more superior solution that's easy to use than Excel. But Excel can also work to a certain degree, right? There are areas where it breaks down. I think when I start to see you say insights and connecting the dots, and then it starts to get a bit trickier. But it can work for you to a certain extent. So, Oba, one of my team members on the call, maybe that actually is a session that we have soon. Is a performance management session where people can actually exchange ideas, or at least maybe learn from somebody who has done this really well. And I don't know if we have a volunteer, and Chris, that we can follow up with you. Maybe you want to volunteer to be our guest for that session. We don't mind. Yeah, I think what Ms. Chidi has said is exactly correct. And when you get to the point where you're then tired of doing it manually, please talk to us. We'll have a solution for you. All right. Well, look, this has been a phenomenal session. Even at the very last second, we still have almost 60 people here. If we're in a room in person, I think nowadays we've actually gotten carried away with the internet, right? If you could get 50 people in a room in real life anywhere, that's a huge crowd. This call, we had about 100 or something people on the call, and at the very end, we're over by half an hour, and we still have about 57 people. So thank you all for being here with us. I always say that it's not about us, it's about the person that spoke. And clearly, during the conversation, people got value and they saw value. That's why they stayed around. So, Ms. Chidi, I also want to thank you so much for the insights, for the content, for coming with a lot of firepower. People have been commenting that they've gotten insights from this call. I'm sure people are gingered on Monday. In fact, today is Thursday, so by Friday, people are going to start doing things differently. By Monday, they're already pursuing the next set of initiatives. Thank you. Thank you
so much. Thank you for the opportunity to share and unpack.
And we'll see some of you on the next session, which is likely going to be next month or the one after. So have a great rest of the week and weekend, and be well. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Seni. See you on the other side. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.